right, we are back and we are getting ready to go into the last round of Swiss. I believe this is round eight, right, Andy?
Yes, round eight. I'm so happy to be back and joining you for this last round of Swiss. As you said, a lot of people's uh, entire day. It looks like we could see it's nighttime there.
Yes,
They
we can
are
see it through the windows. It is dark out. We have had a long day of playing and talking about Disney Lorcana.
absolutely a bunch of people in the room are gonna get to go to bed happy knowing they're coming back tomorrow. Well, actually, they got to play one
No,
round of top
yeah,
16. You're
I
right.
would say
Uh,
only like eight people kind of get to go to bed happy at the end of all
that's
of this.
That's true. But there are a lot of people who will be heading home and refining their Infinity decks for tomorrow if they can't get all the way through today.
hmm For sure. I mean, regardless, I think everyone is going to go home happy knowing they got to play their favorite trading card game, Disney Lorcana, got to hang out with friends, get some yummy food at the food trucks, check out the vendors, all the fun things. I think even if you don't make it into the top eight by the end of today, it was still a fun time.
Absolutely. I know I always have fun at these events, win or lose. It's about, the friends you made along the way, right? So,
Exactly. I was about to say the same thing. The friends you made along the way, the friends you reconnected with, the friends you traveled with.
exactly. All right. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think we people are heading into round eight, right? Some of these people here are shuffling up, but I think maybe some people are waiting on pairings still.
Yeah, so I think we're getting all set up for our feature match in a little bit.
Okay.
Very exciting. We're kind of at the point where anyone who's still playing has a chance at top 16. We did have a couple people who, were pretty locked in and safe, and so they're kind of taking a break for the rest of this round, which, perfectly fine. Rest up, get ready to play in Top Cut. But for the rest of them, they are either trying, I think for the most part, everyone here that's still playing is they have an opportunity to make it into the Top Cut and they're trying their best.
Absolutely. I'm guessing all of those people standing over by the table on the right that are cheering and hanging out and they look like they may be some of our top players that have are able to draw through this round, like you said. But
Right. Or
yes,
even
still
they're just the friends that are supporting. I know that some people once they reach a point where they know that they're out of contention for those top spots, they're kind of like, you know what? Save myself the mental energy. Let me just drop and hang out and be there to cheer on my friends.
absolutely. Well, it looks like
Oh,
we've got
we got some
Daniel and Tim
dickies.
here. Yeah, Daniel and Tim, it looks like is going to be our feature match. Is that?
Yes, and it looks like Daniel is playing Sapphire Emerald. Not shocking considering how popular that deck is in this room. And then we have Tim playing, I believe.
Ooh, the Amber Amethyst
Oh,
list here.
interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing the Horseman Strikes and that's Amber. I was talking with Rebecca earlier where it just feels like Amber Amethyst is really just an amethyst cake with some amber sprinkles on it. It's really very much amethyst heavy.
Absolutely. And I know my team captain was actually played it in the DLC and has been a big fan of it. I know I tested it a good bit and um, it really did feel like it made you think, amethyst is obviously a really strong color and you add all these sapphire or steel cards in. Um, but you're right, with the limited amount of amber, it's mostly all amethyst. It makes you just wonder maybe the amethyst cards are just better. Maybe adding more amethyst was the secret. It's not about what the other color brings. It's just, more amethyst. Because that like that Ursula that we see sometimes, the Whisper Ursula is really strong, and they
Yes,
just
the
need to play all of
Vanessa.
them.
Yes, and then we also got from production the statistics. Daniel is, or their records. Daniel is currently at 5-1-1 versus Tim is at 6-1. So both of them are really fighting for those final spots in the top 16. And we're
Absolutely.
off to the races. Daniel here played a Develop Your Brain. Tim's here playing a Long Way.
Lonwy is a pretty strong start for Tim. He's going to use that very much like the Basil would be used in Sapphire Amethyst, so that later we can give support and take something out with like an Elsa. Um, but it also has the ability with the world's greatest criminal mind to support your opponent's character, get them above that 5 strength threshold, and then use that card as removal on something smaller like um, I don't know that there's much in the Sapphire Emerald list now that I think about it. Not two great targets, but something like one of your 3 strengths, like a
Ooh,
Calhoun or a
Daniel
Cheshire.
inking a second John Silver. I don't know if, because John Silver can be such a strong card, especially in this matchup. So I don't know if they had to ink it just because they don't have, anything else to play with, or if they were just like, that's what they have to do. And they're showing off their hand, not just to Tim, but also to us. So we see a You're Welcome, Donald, Gentleman, and a
Clarabelle.
Rebel. A
A very
Kale.
enchanted hand there.
Yes, a very sparkly hand. I love it. I appreciate it.
The Mowgli, though, says you have to get rid of one of your non-characters, but Daniel gets to choose. So he chose to develop your brain to keep that. You're welcome. Hopefully, to fill Tim's hand as well as remove a card in the future when this Clarabelle hopefully hits the board. Question is, you know, Tim knows now what is coming, so can he stop it? Can he set himself up for this?
Right, and that's such a difficult position because of the Clarabelle potentially coming down. You have this Donald Perfect Gentleman who is essentially, if Daniel decides, can allow Tim to draw a card as well, can also, play your welcome so that Tim draws cards, really making it so that whether Tim empties their hand or not, they're going to have cards that Clarabelle will draw off of later.
Absolutely. And I think Tim here is recognizing that Daniel needs all of the cards on his board for much stronger plays and is most likely not going to bother with the 2 characters on board. Um, as a result, he's just getting some free lore early in the game to hopefully get him across that finish line in the end here. Ooh, we had to ink the You're Welcome, or
I'm
do we have more
looking.
than one? So the Clarabelle does come down. This is big. I think Tim's still sitting at maybe 3 or 4 cards in hand. We see a Mother Knows Best and maybe another You're Welcome in hand for Daniel, which would be able to completely empty. It is. It is. So he completely empties his hand here if he so chooses with this Mother Knows Best and will draw, uh, I don't know exactly, but probably 5 or 6 cards to fill his hand. This
Right, which is
is
such a huge benefit. Clarabelle, she's just a wonderful cow. She's living her best life, dancing around, drawing cards.
absolutely. This is as good as it gets for Daniel here. This is exactly what he wanted. Is it seven?
Right. Daniel, even going out of his way to be like, look,
Seven.
I have no cards in my hand. You have this many. I'm gonna draw just as many as you by the end of this.
Gives him the old jazz hands.
Yeah, the jazz hands. Love it.
So 7 new cards were drawn for Daniel.
Right.
That
And this
is
really puts Daniel at such an advantage, because they have these two pretty big characters on their side of the board versus Tim, just has this little Mowgli, little Mowgli. And,
yeah,
I think Tim doesn't have as many of these large glimmers compared to Daniel. I think Daniel has like these larger glimmers that I feel like can just do a lot more. However, Tim could try to flood the board, is the thing. I think Daniel is very reliant on ramping. However, I'm kind of proved wrong though, as I said earlier when we saw an Amethyst Emerald or Amethyst Amber, that there's not as much as removal, but here we are seeing world's greatest criminal mind doing what it does and removing that Clarabelle.
absolutely. Yeah, I think Tim maybe would have loved to have seen a lantern or two earlier in the game, um, so that he potentially could have dumped a little more out of his hand. But We do see quite a bit of removal in Tim's hand. Double pumpkin, it looks like. Plus, he had that world's greatest.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
wondering if Tim is holding on to those horseman strikes just, when that, bigger Prince Philip comes down, easily
Absolutely.
remove it.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to, those are basically locked to those Prince Philips. You have to get that off the board. And then the world's greatest, only goes so far. But you're absolutely right that John Silver, Basil, Clarabelle, plenty of cards here that are big, scary characters that Tim is going to eventually run out of good answers for.
Right, and I do see that Daniel does have both the smaller Prince Philip and the larger Shift Prince Philip in his hand. So I think Tim is right to suspect and keep those horseman strikes 'cause it's like those Philips, they're gonna come down, and I need to be ready. Or better yet, he needs to be ready to strike.
Absolutely. Oh, we see that's the third John Silver now, gone to the inkwell
Yeah,
for
third
Daniel.
John Silver in the inkwell. Maybe Daniel's just like John Silver, not feeling him this game.
So we have 5 ink left, it looks like here. Um, Looks like they're trying to decide what to do. I wonder if they're going to play this little Philip and then maybe also play the Tipo out just to try and be ink efficient.
Yeah, and I think that is what they're gonna do. They bring the Tipo to the front.
They
I
could
also
also ink something off the Tipo, but the really scary card I see in Daniel's hand here, I think, is that Bend to My Will. I think it's right next to the big Prince Philip.
Oh, and
Um,
he also has a malicious mean and scary in hand, just so that when he does the Prince Philip combo, it's ready. It's ready.
yeah, and then I don't know if that's another Clarabelle or if that's another You're Welcome, but he has that enchanted, it looks like, in hand as well. So,
I also noticed Daniel has an enchanted Cinderella Dream Come True in there. A very shiny deck indeed.
wow. All right. So let's see how Tim can navigate his turn. We're going to increase the strength or give Challenger +2 to this Elanwi to allow it to take out that Donald Duck. It also drew us a card here. We'll play the Mowgli to see what we got. Oh, the
Ooh.
Bend, the Malicious, the Clarabelle, and the Prince. So he says you're gonna lose your entire hand next turn, because now the cat's out of the bag, if you will, and so
Yep. I don't know. There's no Cheshires here yet.
so now you're not hiding it anymore. I think you just need to throw down the Bend to My Will, make them lose all the cards in their hand.
Right, and they had just drew into a Basil as well, or Basil. Is it Basil? Basil? Basil. Pretty sure it's Basil. But it's like if Bend to My Will wasn't enough, when they quest, if they play that character, they will just also discard cards as well.
Yep. So double pumpkin and the Cheshire come down into the discard as well as something else I can't quite tell, maybe a Dumbo. But that is not what you want to see. The longer this game goes on, the more Big Prince Phillips Daniel can get into play. The harder and harder those are going to be to remove for Tim, with now 3 of his removal options gone from the gone from his deck and into the discard. 1 card in hand. Let's see, a Mowgli. What else you got? Nothing.
No
Clarabelle,
action.
Phil, and Basil. Or as Rebecca says in the chat, razzle dazzle Basil.
Love that. Love that. Give that Basil some razzle dazzle. Because you were just talking about jazz hands earlier.
Yeah. All right.
You could even
So,
say that Daniel's whole deck is very razzle dazzle. Playing the malicious mean and scary. I think we already know
oh,
the
so
Prince Philip combo is coming
he
down.
found one off the top. That is absolutely brutal. I almost
Some
think he inked the
pretty
Clarabelle.
insane.
I can't
Hmm.
I can't expect your oh, the Criminal Mind off the top. Wow, he answers the
Wow.
amazing top deck with his own. That definitely keeps you in this game for a good bit longer.
He did not ink that Clarabelle unless he drew into another one, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
and
he
just so that they can play it right now. Tebow's on the board now. I love Tebow. You know, Tebow's just a growing boy, and he's here.
yeah, 18 more turns and that Tipo will win it for you, no matter what you do.
No matter what you do. Yep. It's a new Lorcana law.
Inks the Mowgli. I don't know how
And
much
then
ink
no
Tim
cards and
has, but I'm wondering
oh
if they had maybe only five and they wanted to be able to get to like a Demona. Um, so
yeah, I could see that, but it looks like Tim no longer has any cards in hand, which, you know, is a way to help combat the Clarabelle that Daniel has on their board. And Tim plays a Dumbo Ninth Wonder of the Universe. Hopefully Tim is able. Nope, never mind.
oh,
I was gonna say hopefully they are able to draw more cards from it, but Daniel
uh,
plays Mother Knows Best and says goodbye to that Dumbo.
will bounce it back to hand, and then the Basil quested, and like you said, it removes a card from random from their hand, so it's just immediately to the discard. Looks like we'll get that. There's that enchanted Cinderella you were talking about. So
Love her.
gorgeous.
She's stunning, stunning. Someday I'll have my own.
But now that we are, oh, there
Oh,
it
there's
is.
the
So it was.
Demona.
So we were inking to six so that we could play the Demona. Unfortunately, you filled up your opponent's hand a little bit here, and you will lose one probably to this Basil.
I
But
do see a Horseman Strike, so if another Prince Philip were to come down, Tim has an answer. But I don't know if Daniel keeps drawing cards, it might not really be worth it at that point.
yeah, and with the board that he has, it looks like you can. He may just be deciding that he's going to try and flood the board and take out as much as he can, or just take as much lore as he can and try and win the game. You're only eight lore now away, so you bounce that back. You play the vision, look for the best card you can. Um,
Right. And once again, another Horseman Strikes joins the discard. That is now the third one we see join the discard on Tim's end.
Absolutely. So we quest for three more to go up to 15. We won't put the Cinderella in harm's way, it seems. So it's probably not needed. We've got enough lore on board, and Tim agrees. He says, "Let's scoop the cards. We'll head to game two. Uh, he will be on the play, and hopefully have the right set of cards that he needs to take out this Emerald Sapphire. You know, we've been talking about it all tournament. It's the most represented deck here. Probably a lot of Sky and Fungus fans out there playing this deck, and now we get to see it on stream, and it's certainly doing pretty well in this matchup, it seems.
Right. If you are the Amber Amethyst player, what would be your strategy against the Sapphire Emerald? Because sometimes it just feels impossible to play against Sapphire Emerald, especially, you know, just like we saw here. They're constantly finding all the combo pieces they needed. They're top decking what they would want. But if you're Amethyst Amber, besides hoping that they don't get their combo pieces, what are you hoping to accomplish? You know,
Um,
what are you looking for as a combo?
yeah, it's kind of rough. I definitely think they want to see the lantern, at least one, if not a couple, perhaps. That helps them keep up with the ramp that Emerald Sapphire can put down. Um, and I think you kind it's kind of a catch 22 that you're stuck in here. If you sort of keep your cards and try and play a later game route, like we saw Tim sort of do there with a couple pumpkins in hand, um, then you have risk of that bend to my will. Whereas if or Clarabelle getting good value, whereas if you just sort of flood the board, you make yourself really susceptible to their Prince Philip combo, or if they have it, the Under the Sea. Um, so I would probably just
It
try and play
doesn't. I did check Daniel's list earlier, and it doesn't look like they're running under the sea.
no Under the Sea.
No
Okay.
under the sea. So this feels very, very heavily inspired by the sky and fungus list.
Okay, definitely. So yeah, I would probably just try and play like a nice clean curve. Ideally get the lantern out as soon as possible. If you have multiple, even better. To try and help you be able to take advantage of Daniel filling your hand with cards like the Donald or You're Welcome or Mother Knows Best. You're able to just play a lot more cards to the board. It sort of forces them to have more pieces of their sort of overall combo.
Right, and we're getting right into this match, but before we jump in, fun little thing that was noticed by chat is that these two are both players from the NorCal area. So sometimes it can feel like you may have traveled really far, traveling 12 hours, and you're still gonna be paired with your friends.
Yeah, that's always kind of the worst. You drive 5 hours and you play against someone you could have played at home, but
hmm
you know, they're
You
both
are,
here on this winning end, so maybe it just means that you and your friend are both really good at this game, and that's
yeah,
why you're at these
hopefully,
same tables.
hopefully it's not an awkward car ride home.
Yeah,
All right, Mally being played. Taking a big look at this hand, we have plenty of actions here.
they are gonna throw away their vision of the future because Daniel gets to choose. Um, three enchanteds in hand. That's
A
pretty
very
shiny.
sparkly hand.
Oh, we top deck the vision. Um, to
Easy.
say I never needed it anyway. I knew I had another. Um,
Right. They ink it and
yep,
play ramp. To be
Sail.
expected, from a Sapphire Emerald deck is you want your ramp on turn two.
Looks like Inca John Silver, and then play the little cow.
Yes.
There we go. All right.
Yeah,
Still no
Inky.
lantern for Tim. Looking at the hand that Daniel had, it definitely still seems like the strongest card you could be playing right now to try and get yourself up ahead.
No
On the
lantern, but we
ink.
are going to play the Woodchuck Guide.
All right, that can definitely help for later. It helps protect to some extent against like a bend to my will. You're able to just immediately draw a couple extra cards the next turn. Well, might as well just add a few more enchanteds to his hand. Daniel draws the Cinderella enchanted here again. We'll see it come down. What are we going to swap out? It looks like maybe the malicious, mean, and scary. I think we're going all in on this Clarabelle line like we did last time.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty beneficial with just how much card draw Tim has, especially as an amethyst, as having amethyst in their ink or in their deck. Makes sense.
Oh, the Mowgli. All the
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
Welcome gets taken away, so that'll hurt the combo a little bit.
right. We
Uh,
still got the Clarabelle, which I wonder if Tim is now. I need to empty my hand because I know this Clarabelle is coming down soon, and I don't want Daniel to benefit from it.
Absolutely. Definitely gonna quest those two. I think you maybe save the Elanwi for support. Seems like maybe a reasonable option. No, we say okay, that's fine. The support was gonna be used to help take out the Cinderella. If they take out the Elanwi, then you could probably take out the Cinderella with the octopus instead.
Yeah, I think Tim is also possibly just at a point where, hey, there's a chance some crazy combos can be played pretty soon. I might as well just quest with everything before, I get Prince Philip and Malicious Mean and Scarried here.
Yeah, absolutely. I Tim doesn't know that the malicious, mean, and scary was removed. Actually, he does because he saw it with the Mowgli. But we inked that off the Cinderella. Looks like we picked up a big Prince Philip. So we'll ink the big Philip. I think the question here is, do we play John Silver or shift the Clarabelle? So we're
And it
gonna
looks
play
like
the
we're gonna play the John Silver. Instead, use our small Clarabelle to take out Elanwi. And Cinderella's also got a challenge too. Princesses can battle it out as well.
absolutely. So we opt to wait and maybe play the Clarabelle next turn, perhaps enticing Tim to pop the guidebook and maybe get a few extra cards in hand.
Right, and it looks like Daniel has no cards and no, they have one card in hand, correct?
Yeah, I
And that's
believe
the
it's just
Clarabelle.
that. Yeah, just that enchanted Clarabelle. Um,
Right,
couple,
and I think Tim is aware that the Clarabelle's in hand and
yep.
might be debating. It's like, do I want to draw the extra cards? Because what if that Clarabelle gets played next turn and, gets all this card advantage as well?
Yeah, the problem is Tim is kind of on the back foot here. I know he's got more lore, but with just two Mowglis, um, compared to the John Silver and the Cinderella on the other side, uh, he does need to play some impactful cards. So if he's staring at a hand that doesn't really have anything that's too helpful for him at this moment, he might need to use that guidebook, which I'm wondering if that was Daniel's logic in delaying the Clarabelle one more turn to try and get some value.
Right, and Tim now plays the greatest
Ooh.
criminal mind, clears Daniel's board as well. I think there was a point too where the Mowglis had to challenge because of John Silver, so they couldn't really quest anyways.
Yeah, one
So
of the
might as well
Mowglis had
trade.
Reckless. And that's actually really interesting. Tim now clears the board and empties his hand entirely. And when Daniel top decked an uninkable, so
Ooh,
he
that's
can't even
hard.
he can't even ink it to play the Clarabelle, but Tim has no cards in hand and still has that guidebook for next turn. So both of them playing around this guidebook versus Clarabelle option here. Daniel just says pass.
Yeah, it really feels like, even though we got a cow here, it kind of feels like a game of chicken at the moment.
Yep. All
But
right.
Tim does banish the guidebook in order to draw two cards. Let's see what Tim does. Genie draws another card.
Ooh, so Genie's really good.
Ink them
Oh, and a
in.
one drop. That is pretty good.
Daniel, getting an inkable at least. Develop your brain to play the Clarabelle. Passing the turn back to Tim. Let's see what happens.
Won't get any cards from the Clarabelle. Um, both players playing with a very low hand size here.
Ooh, playing a Dumbo. Has
Dumbo's
enough
good.
ink to. Looks like that's what they're going to do. Instead of questing for two, they're going to do the Dumbo ability, draw a card, gain a lore. Let's see if it's something that could potentially remove the cheater in the Clarabelle. Oh, another wood
Ooh,
drop. It's not bad because then that's less cards in Tim's hand as well.
Tim says, you know what? I don't mind if you are just taking out my Rafiki for free because I'm just gonna try and keep going faster
Keep
than you.
on. Yeah, keep on questing.
So I know we have the Enchanted Cinderella in hand. Do we have another? Is that what the other card is? Did he draw a third Enchanted Cinderella? That would be
Crazy.
pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's really no downside I see to
Yeah, I believe
taking out that
that's
Rafiki.
another Cinderella from the looks of it. And it's just not really worth to play, I guess.
Yeah, that's another Enchanted Cinderella. Three Enchanted Cinderellas in a row here. He decides he will put it away into the inkwell for that Cinderella effect. Draw another card.
We don't know what card it is, but hopefully it's something they can play next turn or has value in being played. That is the nice thing about the Cinderella effect is that even though you don't necessarily need the ink, it's a good way to filter. Oh, we have a
Another Dumbo.
second Dumbo, Ninth Wonder of the Universe coming down. And
And
inking a third Dumbo.
questing for three up to 12. Yeah, Tim is really just saying, I'm going to keep as few cards in my hand as possible. So you will get no value out of your Clarabelle. You are low on hand size. You are far away from this Prince Philip combo. So let's just try building a board and questing as much as we can.
Right. And Daniel's playing Visions of the Future, trying to dig for some answers. At this point, is it too late for Daniel to try to build up to that Prince Philip combo to try to clear this board? Because Tim
Well,
is already at 12 war and potentially has three, four, five more board on, or five more lore on the board, bringing them up
yeah,
to 17. So we're reaching that 2 turn clock if they can, unless they can pull up a combo.
yeah. So it looks like the visions is great because it'll essentially lets you get to pick what you want. You should be able to see something good in those five cards, and it looks like he's debating between that big Prince Philip and that you're welcome. Um, oh, not sure what he picked there at the last second, but um, oh, it's the you're welcome. Okay.
Yeah, possibly trying to get Tim to, forcibly draw more cards in their hand to try to draw more cards. For Daniel,
So you're welcome, the genie. We say we need to get rid of the biggest threat um, on the board. The
right, and
Dumbos, you
then
can't get rid of both of them, so not the greatest target. And plus, you kind of want your opponent drawing cards, just hopefully not playing them all immediately so that you can get some Clarabelle value.
right, and I feel like Genie was such a good choice as well because that's something that's evasive, a two-quester. You don't really have anything to combat evasive in terms of removal. There's no Prince Philip on board, so felt fair.
Well, so we cleared our hand. We took out some of their board and then drew three cards for Daniel here. I think that was a bit of a success in the Clarabelle wars here that we have going on where hand size versus the Clarabelle. So we'll see a Dumbo take out a Cinderella.
I
You don't
wonder
see
if
that every
maybe
day.
has a Cheshire Cat and be able to remove damage around. Yes, I
Yeah,
think
there
that
we go.
is. So what we're gonna do, pay the 2 ink to boost Cheshire Cat, move the 2 damage off of Dumbo, and put it onto the small Clarabelle, interestingly enough. I was wondering, but I don't know if there was enough strength to be able to move the 2 damage onto Clarabelle and then challenge with the other Dumbo.
Yeah, I think Tim is also just trying to value building a board, questing as much as he can, and keeping as many cards off the board for Daniel. So we're going to 13 here. You know, that Clarabelle can't challenge anything. Um,
And then Tim plays another guidebook here, just so that if they do need that card draw later, it is an option. Especially if somehow the Dumbos get removed from the board, that is an option for Tim to draw more cards later to try to fill up that board again.
yeah, absolutely. So we have the guidebook, the double Dumbos, and we also have a Cheshire Cat that we are slowly building cards under. You get something like a Madam Mim elephant and bounce back, and now you've got a nice full hand of cards. So Tim is sort of insulating himself very, very well against this uh, Clarabelle, it seems. Let's see. Seven. We're gonna see this Basil come down. Oh, right. The Basil sends back the Cheshire. Oh, because more cards in hand means more cards from Clarabelle. Wow, that is
That is that's why they're doing so well in this tournament.
yeah, that's a big brain play right there.
Right. They know what they're doing.
The undercover detective Basil here has proved very helpful for Daniel. Let's see how Tim can respond. A lot of cards in hand. We want to play as many of them as possible. Ooh, we're gonna say, all right, I'll take some more cards.
Right. Might as well at this point. If you're making me have a bunch of cards, might as well just go all in. Plus, it doesn't hurt too much because Dumbo does gain you a lore as well. So, does it really hurt you too much? Not really in this scenario.
Yeah, when you're questing up to 15 here, you know, giving your opponent a few more cards is probably not the worst thing. If you get, bend to my will, again, you're very, very close to the finish line, so probably not as big of an issue. Let's see what else we get here as we try and unload our hand.
Right? Put as many threats as possible from Tim just to be like, Daniel, what can you do?
Another Cheshire. One for an Alonwi. Wow. We're playing a lot of cards here, and we say pass the turn. Okay.
Right? And Tim is now at one, two, three, four, five lore potentially. They do have enough on board to win next turn if Daniel can't do anything to remove any of the glimmers currently on Tim's board.
Yeah, it looks like we do see maybe a Basil in hand, so we have the option to bounce something.
Inking a Donald Duck, and we are going to lots of the finger tapping. That's how you know they're thinking. They're thinking hard, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Daniel probably is just like, I'm trying really hard to get into top 16 for that CCQ invite, and this matters a lot.
So we're gonna do the quest. Uh, Lose a random card. It's the bell. Ooh, could have
Hmm,
been nifty, but probably not immediately necessary for Tim, given the Cheshire Cat he has on board.
great.
We'll send back a
Daniel,
Dumbo.
that's pretty good. Slows down Tim by at least one turn. Because that is one less lore on board that would have gotten them to victory. And Clarabelle's got a quest for one.
Yeah, Clarabelle quest. We're gonna draw off the Clarabelle for the cards in hand, and then we're gonna ink and draw off the Cinderella. Okay, that was good. Good sequencing there. Gave you one more card to uh, to look at to see what you wanted to ink for that Cinderella. And I think they did get like something like a Tipo, it looked like, off the top. So,
All right, and
all
we
right.
are going to use the guidebook's ability, draw two cards when we banish this item.
I wonder if we needed more cards there in hand because we are going to 19 this turn. Oh, we aren't. We say no. We're gonna make sure we keep a clean board here and try and keep them away from being able to do anything useful. Let's see. Is- we're in this sort of pickle. If you play too many characters and then you get Prince Philip, that is
Then you're in
not
trouble.
ideal. Yeah. Ooh, hypnotic. And we will trade with the Clarabelle. Very, very good trades here.
Right, I'm seeing that Tim has some genies that he could play as well, and that might be pretty beneficial to have, another evasive because Daniel only has only so many evasive answers as well. Making a horseman strikes.
Yeah, I wonder if I would maybe play a genie to try and sort of bait out and say, yeah, say, look, you need, if you have the combo, if you have the board wipe, you need to do it now because I've got a genie. And then if he does do the board wipe or some sort of removal, now he can next turn just be like, hey, I have a backup genie. It's okay.
Exactly. So Daniel comes in. They did pull a malicious mean and scary, but I don't know if they have the Prince Philip to do the combo.
Oh, they do. Is that last card in the hand there?
Yes, I think that is. But do they have, are they going to do it?
We're in quest for two here. I think first he's gonna see what does he get out of Tim's hand with this discard. Number three, a genie.
Oh, that genie.
All right.
There goes away that insurance policy we had on the genie.
Our backup genie is no more.
The backup genie's gone, the insurance is gone. But Tim still has a couple cards here, so it's not the worst thing ever.
Does look like there is a world's greatest in hand. He might have another genie actually. When he was flipping through there, it looked like he might have just had
Yeah, I believe
double
they also have
backup genies.
another Dumbo as well.
Um, but this combo
Yeah,
here might not be.
yeah, because Daniel really has to do something or else Tim gets it next turn.
Yeah, and it looks like it's Clarabelle, Donald, and the combo in hand. I don't really know that you have much of a choice, right? Um, I guess maybe he's trying to decide whether he wants to sing it and then do the combo, or if he wants to maybe play an extra character. Let's just mean
The singer.
scary.
And
Prince
there's the
Philip.
combo.
And we'll play the Donald Duck. All right.
Right. So Daniel's kind of putting himself in a better position right now, but Tim is still at 17 lore. They could
Ooh,
pause. Ooh, and that
pumpkin.
horseman strikes. You know, it might be Halloween because we're seeing plenty of jack-o'-lanterns today.
Absolutely. The Mowgli into the inkwell. We say now it's not the time for the Mowgli. We're gonna play. We did. We had the
He
double
did.
backup genie.
Right. He said, "Get me that premium insurance policy."
Absolutely. We'll see an Iago come down as well. Very nice.
Right. I wonder if Tim is also prioritizing two. First, that's three lore. So again, Daniel has to deal with this whole board in order for Tim to not win next turn. But also, again, I wonder if Tim is prioritizing those evasives because evasive answers are fairly limited in Daniel's deck.
And there it is. He did not have an answer. It looks like he had the big Prince Philip, but the other card was not helpful. So Tim takes game two, and we get headed to a game three here.
Exciting. We love to see it, especially when it's such a pivotal round. You know, this is top 16. Both these players are trying really hard to secure this, or, this is the final round of Swiss. Both these players are trying really hard to secure a spot in that top 16. So, very, very, very important match that we're about to have. Also, something notable from production is that there is less than 15 minutes left in this round.
Yeah, just around 14 minutes, it looks like. We've got a
Right.
lot of people in the chat here rooting on Tim.
Right on
Marco,
10.
Dad Kana saying, let's go, Tim.
Yeah, there is 14 minutes, probably down to 13 at this point left in the round. So very nitty gritty. And, it's kind of tough because Sapphire sometimes just goes on forever. Just takes so long. So hopefully they do reach a conclusion by the end of it, and this doesn't go into, an unfinished match.
Absolutely. We do have some people
Rooting
cheering
for
on Daniel in
Daniel.
chat as well. Want to make sure he knows he's got love and support out there as well.
Right. I feel like just all of NorCal is up in the chat right now.
Yeah, chat is choosing sides now too. We're getting a lot of cheering going on here. A lot of Tims and some Daniels as well as the players alter their hand in what will need to be one of their quickest games of Lorcana, probably all day. You're gonna need to speed through this, fellas.
I know, right? None of them are playing that triple daisy, unfortunately.
Yeah, we need a. we need to bring out the chess clock, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and put everyone on a timer.
Mm-hmm. Because right, even looking closely at Tim's deck list, it's like it's not a very, you think Amber, you think very aggro leaning, but it's really not. I feel like Tim's strategy, looking at the deck list, is very much lanterns and trying to get these like bigger characters or bigger glimmers out onto the field.
Yeah, and Tim actually may have a different approach than some of the lists that I have played. Only three lanterns for Tim. So compared to like the Sapphire list that run eight, possibly nine ramp tools, this Amethyst usually only has uh, the four lanterns. But with only three now, Tim is sort of further saying, "Look, I don't always need that lantern to win the game." So we'll see how that pays off here.
Hmm.
Looks like an ink and pass for Daniel, and then an ink and a royal guard for Tim.
My goodness, these players were so deep in thought that I thought they were frozen for a second. I was so concerned, but no, it's just that goes to show how intense these matches can be because of just how critical it is. A Continental's invite is on the line. They're probably aware that they only have so much time left for this round. So it's a very very impactful game. And I wonder too if they're aware of the time and they're possibly changing their strategies to be like, you know what? We're just going to try to quest as quickly as possible. I don't really want to focus on you challenging me and trying to gain, board control. I really just want to get as much lore as quickly as possible. And I wonder if we're just going to see a race to 20.
That's very possible. I think we had said Tim is 6-1 and Daniel is 5-1-1. So definitely far more in Daniel's best interest to try and speed through this game and hopefully get the win. I think Tim would probably still be safe into top cut at 6-1-1. I know there's a lot of others that are intentionally drawing at that. Um, so hopefully both players are aware of the situation. We see the Cinderella come down. I guess
Right, we're
again,
seeing we're
trying
seeing
to make a decision
Daniel.
on what to ink. Yep. All right.
Yeah, Daniel hit the ramp with the Tipo and now the Cindy.
So next turn, it looks like we will be able to ink, play little Clarabelle, and then big Clarabelle on top of it for only 6 ink total. Um, and hopefully refill our hand because Tim's
Still has
still,
plenty of cards.
yeah.
Playing that guidebook again. I feel like the guidebook has been such a strong strategy for Tim so far.
Chat says, I don't think there's such a thing as a fast Emerald Sapphire game. So that
That's what
is,
I'm saying. I just don't think there is. But I would love to be proven wrong. They have about 10 minutes left and I'd love to be proven wrong.
all right. So we are going to see the Madam Mim uh, Tiny Adversary, I believe is their name. I just know it.
Yes,
I know her by her nickname,
her
Skater Mim.
nickname. Yes.
Um, so
Yes, but they are questing away, which is so interesting because you typically don't really see Mim quest, but again, I'm wondering if these players are just aware of the time and are adjusting their strategies to be like, you know what? If we hit turns, I want to be as close as 20 as possible when we hit turns so that if we do hit turns, I can maybe try to squeak out that win.
absolutely. So we do see the Clarabelle and then the Clarabelle shift. Um, we are going to take out the Skater Mim. I kind of feel like the Madam Mim isn't as important because you have Alanwi and you have the guidebook, both of which can buff this Royal Guard to, you know, Namari levels of strength, right? So we can do +3, 4, 5. So it would be a 6-2
But
Oh,
instead, Tim goes in and plays world's greatest criminal mind to get rid of that Clarabelle.
that is huge. That is very big. Only one draw, well, three cards, but only one round of card draw off of that Clarabelle.
Right.
Certainly going to hurt Daniel.
And Tim taking that opportunity to banish the guidebook to be able to draw two cards since Clarabelle is no longer a threat here. Which is such a bummer because I feel like Daniel really was, relying on that Clarabelle with those Mother's Knows Best in their hand. Ready, to be like, Tim, get all the cards in your hand. I'm going to bounce back these glimmers and draw more cards by the end of this turn.
Absolutely. Questing once more with this Alanwi to go to three. Decides, you know what? If Tipo wants to trade in, that'll be something you have to do. I'm not gonna initiate that. I'm gonna take the free lore here and move on. Um, oh, another Clarabelle. Okay, that's pretty big there. Draw a couple
Right.
more cards at the end of the turn. And then, like you said, hopefully next turn we can see Daniel utilize maybe some of those Mother Knows Best to bounce back whatever Tim plays here. The Mowgli, okay.
Mowgli will swipe something. We do have some actions here.
Yeah. One of those Mother Knows Best has to go. It looks like we see Mother Knows Best, John Silver, and the big Prince Philip. Ooh, a swooping strike put into the inkwell for Tim.
Oh, and
That's
we
an
see a lantern first time
interesting tech
played
card.
in this round. It does exist.
Yep. He finally finds one. Um, Nothing to really play off of the lantern there yet, but that should come in handy in future turns when he's trying to keep up and empty his hand to avoid this Clarabelle.
Definitely. And it looks like the players probably have about 5 minutes left on time, which I can only imagine the immense pressure that is being felt right now.
Yeah, 5 minutes is not a lot of time. It looks like we have a Tipo in hand, perhaps. Seems ripe for the inkwell. And then I kind of feel like you have enough ink. You just need to start playing all of your big characters as much as you can.
Right.
Um,
And John Silver is so good right now, especially with this time crunch, because they're really going to force, well, I guess not, because you'll Mother knows best, but I was going to say that you can really force your opponent to be like, you're not going to quest anyways. You have to challenge.
yep. But he valued getting those extra cards into his hand. Um, John Silver, a two quester though. So now we're questing for four, both cards that are difficult to remove. And we got two more big questers in hand that will certainly help them cross the finish line as we are running out of time in this round. Dumbo inked, Dumbo played, turn passed. Is that another Prince Philip? Play the Basil, bounce the Dumbo. Do you ink one of the Prince Philips? I don't know that you do. We're questing for four. We're giving the Mowgli Reckless.
Right. And that makes it
5 minutes left
where
in round.
5 minutes left. Mowgli can no longer quest. And so it really becomes where that John Silver is very valuable at this point in the game.
Lantern in three. Looks like maybe we'll bring Dumbo back out. Try again. Alonwi might as well. One card left in hand for Tim, it looks like here. Looks like that Horseman strikes. We will have to put a damage somewhere. We'll put it on the Clarabelle. And I think Tim's going to say, you know what? I want to keep this pumpkin in
Just in
case
case
I
a
need it
Prince Philip
later.
is
Oh,
played.
nope. They decide they want to ink it. Ooh, that could be a decision they wish they hadn't made in the future here, depending on if Daniel's able to get this
I
Prince
know,
Philip
if
out
only
this
they
turn.
had visions of the future to know what was going to happen.
So we
And there's
play
that
the
Prince
Prince Philip.
Philip. Johnson will request again. Let's see who they choose to target. It's going to be a
Smart,
long wing.
smart move. Um, and actually, you know what I just realized? We had to ink that pumpkin because the basil would have taken it out of our hand
Mm,
with their quest. So you might as well put it in the inkwell and get some value out of it. Uh, there was no, you can't play it either because then you would have had to choose your own Dumbo. Um, so definitely a heads up play from Tim there. But this is with at this point minutes to spare. We're counting down in seconds. The scoreboard in the gymnasium is counting down, and it's looking like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Only nine to go to 19. But I mean, you get those extra turns after time runs out. Daniel looks like he may have been able to turn the corner and start creating the board that he wants to be able to
I
help cross
think
the line.
so, especially with that evasive Prince Philip. With such a strong strength and willpower, you only really have Dumbo as an option at this point to challenge into that. It just wouldn't be able to take Prince Philip out.
Yep. So we'll use the Dumbo to do the Dumbo effect. Draw a card. Really need something like a pumpkin or a world's greatest here would help keep you in the game at least.
Right, and did they draw into it? No, we
Nope. But we did get an Iago and a Cheshire. We can completely empty our hand. We will have to put some damage on something else. I think it's maybe the Basil. Okay, no, it's the Clarabelle. We're gonna keep trying to chip away at that Clarabelle.
right. But now with the Cheshire Cat, there is a chance of moving damage around and trying to possibly remove Clarabelle or even move that damage around to completely remove that Prince Philip. He is a three quester after all.
Yeah, I thought I saw that off the Develop Your Brain, the Prince Philip with Ward, a huge uh, card to be played here. It goes to 19, and I mean, there's very few options for removing that Prince Philip. You need a Demona to be able to exert it, and then be able to use all of the other characters to, um, take everything out. But again, that Prince Philip,
Right, and Daniel is now at 19.
yep,
And I believe at this point they should be hitting turns. I believe that's time.
yeah, that is time and round. Daniel almost didn't even need it. Almost didn't even need the turns. Oh, they are on turns now already. Okay, so we may be on like turn 0 or turn 1. Oh, the swooping strike. I totally
Oh,
forgot about this. Um, I still think it might not be enough to rein it in. Um, we'll get
right,
3
because
on
they still
there. We could
come.
boost 2 to the Prince Philip. We could take out the Prince Philip then with the Iago, but we still have to take care of the other 3 characters. Oh, okay,
And
we
that
can get the
just,
Basil.
I wonder if. Oh,
Ooh, okay. So we move
okay.
3 off of this to the Clarabelle. That takes out the Clarabelle, which was a lot more cleanup of this board than I was giving them credit for, than I would have expected, but
But
still not
Tim,
enough.
yeah, it just came in a little too late. But Daniel got it, and Daniel is now in contention for top 16.
6 1 and 1. That's pretty good. I think that should probably get you in. And Tim though is also not out of it at 6 and 2. You probably still have a decent chance at, uh, especially since were so high in the tournament before you got these losses that hopefully that record sets them into the top 16 as well.
I think that is the fastest game I have ever seen of Sapphire Emerald being played.
Yeah, Rebecca said there's no such thing as a fast Emerald Sapphire game, and Daniel said, "Okay, bet.
But we
Let's go."
just saw it.
All right. So,
And it sounds like we still probably have a couple other people finishing their rounds. Makes sense. It's a very pivotal round. You know, you want to make sure you're doing the most optimal plays to secure yourself into top 16. But what an exciting day. And it's not over yet. We still have one more round to stream today, top 16. And I will be joined by Rebecca Quest. It's going to be the most girly pop top 16 ever.
awesome. I'm super excited for it. I will be eating my dinner, watching um, to
It's going to be a fun
see who
time.
gets to move on. All
Gosh,
right,
it
I'm just trying to
is.
look at standings and stuff here. It looks like a lot of the games are finished up, um, and I think maybe only a few, if any, are still in turns here. But they're gonna have to do their cut to top 16 and figure out who all made it and didn't. I'm sure Kim and Rebecca will update you on that. But for now, I think we're gonna take a short break. I will see
Yes.
you guys all tomorrow, but Kim and Rebecca will be right back with that top 16 match.
All right. See ya.